Okay, this is Citizen Ed of Citizen Star News with This Week in Star Citizen, brought to you by the word bespoke and the letters R, E, and C. And the word hail, apparently.
That was too easy. It was good, though. Carry on.
Okay, so patch 1.03, or 1.0.3, I guess, is now available. It's a minor point release patch that fixes bugs and adjusts play balance. Check out the patch notes for more details. I did note that the sucker punch guns on the Avenger are being removed until they work properly. They've replaced it with CF007 laser repeaters. So, Avenger folks, you will now have more than one workable weapon. It's kind of nice to have.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Does the Avenger have missiles? I think it does, right?
I am not an Avenger owner. I cannot answer that.
I mostly fly the Avenger when the game messes up and doesn't give me my Super Hornet for the round. There's a nasty habit of going back to defaults sometimes. Big news today is it's kind of mining week, and the RSI Orion bespoke mining ship is expected to go on sale today for a pledge of $325.
Oh my god!
They're running out of today, though.
Yeah, well, they've also got a mini game similar to the one that Carrack shipped with. It's supposed to be released in conjunction. It might have, they're trying to do a lot of things at one time, which sometimes ends up with a delay.
Well, they also said that there was going to be a design post on mining this week, and that hasn't happened either.
Yeah. I was about to get into that. Yes, mining deep dive. So yes, this is kind of mining week. It's kind of like Shark Week.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm interested to see what the mining mechanics are.
I mean, we heard a description of it during the town hall.
That's right.
Thing, but if the design post is anywhere near as in depth as the Moby-Glass one was, I look forward to it.
Yeah. I think this is going to be interesting to a lot of people. I'm trying to stay away from mining in Star Citizen because I've got so much interest in other parts, and mining takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm pretty much at anything industrial is where my interest is, whether that's hauling or mining or production or any of that stuff.
So, Zhane, is that you saying you're going to be buying it?
No, I'll be buying one in the PU.
Oh, I see.
I will not be spending. In any of the industrial ships are on my wish list. They're just not in my wallet's capabilities.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If they put a spider drone or two on it, then it's going to be really hard to resist.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah. As a concept sale, it will run for 10 days and offer the coveted and probably overrated LTI, lifetime insurance. When it's offered again, it will be a little bit more expensive and probably have 6-month insurance. So these first offerings, the concept sale, are highly prized. Last week's promotions, the 350R and M50 sale, as well as the 300 series test flight, are currently wrapping up and should be available through the weekend, I believe. So if you haven't checked that out, you should. I own both the 350R and the M50, and I like them both. 350R is a beast.
Is there one you like more than the other? Because I own the 350, but not the M50.
The M50 is really nice. It's so small and light. It's a little bit more controllable than the 350R, and not so hard to fit through that iris ring.
Right.
If you're in the lead. It's the 350R actually is a bit of a challenge to thread the needle sometimes.
Pop those wings right off.
Yeah. Or catch a wing and put you in a spin or something. It's always fun. Next up, there's a fantastic new Inside CIG video. This has got me pretty excited. CIG are working with the company Imaginarium If somebody could grab that link and throw it into the chat, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I got it covered. I can do this. I got it.
So,
Give him something to
yes.
do.
I did something right.
So Andy Serkis's company is exciting in and of itself, really pushing the boundaries of the performance capture, and the fact that CIG hooked up with them is pretty amazing. And I think it's going to do some really interesting things. They had some interesting things to say about the Xi'an and Van Duel performances too. The way that I don't think they've really done it yet, but they're talking about it, how they can pull that off.
Yeah, it was a really fascinating video.
Yeah, it was one of the better Inside CIG videos, if not the best so far. It was really fascinating. And there were some images of the Van Duel in like space armor that looked really fascinating, because we've kind of seen them pretty much naked before. They look more like monsters, but now they look more like an intelligent alien race.
Yeah, I
had helmet and everything.
For a long time, I had imagined them being much more digitigrade, kind of having like a dog leg kind of thing. But looking at the picture there, they still look kind of semi-digitigrade, but now they look like they've got almost like an elephant foot thing going on. It's very, very weird looking. It's kind of cool.
I like weird looking in alien races. I was worried that aliens in StarCitizen were a little too humanoid. I'm glad to see them working on that.
Yeah, that's the Star Trek problem. Aliens.
Yeah.
You can't have any aliens that aren't humans in makeup.
Right. Yeah, you can tell how alien they are by the depth of makeup on their foreheads. I'd like to see some really weird stuff out there too, especially with the non-human or non-sapient races or species.
Blobs.
Yeah.
Sentient blobs.
The space crabs are fun, but I'd like to see some other stuff. And then my next item up, you guys kind of covered a little bit. Years 100, our guest from last week, released the first video in his new series, StarCitizen Careers. We're really excited about it. We've been working with Years 100. Obviously, Trendane is the voice of Bry Rellim. Did anybody guess the secret of the name?
Not that I know of.
Can we reveal it?
I know that you said that you know it, that Karen told you what it was, or that told you that you got it right. At this point, I'm fine with letting people know what it is.
You want to say it?
No, go ahead.
What is it? Roy Brown?
Roy Brown.
Yeah, it's an anagram for Roy Brown, who is the RAF pilot during World War I that finally shot down the Red Baron.
Ah, interesting.
When we first started recording the thing, when he first gave me the script, he was using Kieran Alastair, which is kind of his character, as a name, kind of a placeholder name for the thing. And I was like, well, if I'm going to start recording this stuff, I need the actual name that it's going to be. And we still didn't know whether I was going to be the one doing it or whether it was going to be Brigant, because he's a German community member who was supposed to be doing the voice for that character, and ultimately got sick and couldn't do it. I mean, Kieran told us all this last week,
Right.
But I was like, I'm just going to go with this name. And I was trying to figure out what name would it be. And I was like, okay, I want to make this something special for Chris Roberts. So what kind of things does he like? Well, he likes, like old wartime stuff. And I remembered there was a book that someone gifted him, I think, that was specifically about the Red Baron and whatnot. And I was like, got it. I need to find out who shot down the Red Baron. And that's the name. And I decided, okay, Roy Brown, that's very casual. I said, let's do what Ben Lesnick did with his name and mix it all around and see if they can figure it out. And that's where it came from. And so there we go.
There you go.
Very cool. I love Easter eggs like that.
I just want to bring up a quick note here. Thank you for all the people I've been following in the past 15 minutes. I just don't want to interrupt Ed while he's doing his news, but I've noticed all of you pop
anyway.
up. So
I was just about to say that.
there's tons of people. So thank you very much.
So this kickoff video, which is part of a series featuring possible careers and occupations you can potentially pursue in the StarCitizen universe. This featured Trendane's voice and music by the official StarCitizen composer Pedro Camacho, who gifted a particular bit of music, which apparently was going to be a track for something else.
Mustang commercial.
Yeah.
Mustang commercial, okay. And he liked it, but it ended up not getting used. So he gave it to Here's 100 to make something beautiful out of it. And he was very impressed. He posted his approval later on, which is always good to see. People over at CIG seem to have liked it quite a bit. Including lead moderator Will, as mentioned before. That's his name.
Many people.
Lead moderator Will. Just a coincidence that he happens to be lead moderator. Kind of like John Rigger is the rigger at doing rigging. So
sometimes the universe just comes together like that.
Yeah.
One of the most common things that the most common descriptors we've seen in the feedback from people is we see the word goosebumps over and over and over.
Yes, yes, and that actually was my barometer too. Is that I get goosebumps on those videos, and we kind of worked with him on the fighter pilot video until I got goosebumps.
Yeah, Trendane, I saw your discussion in the Reddit comments with someone about being a veteran and Kieran as well, and how that making the video spoke to you in that certain way. And obviously, I and all of us who aren't veterans don't have that kind of connection to it. But goosebumps is a very appropriate word. I got that same kind of feeling from it. Yep. It was really impressive.
And then the goosebumps hit everybody at the same time. True story.
Yep. So the thing about Will is that he was scheduled to do a fan spotlight feature on videos that day. And so Will very quickly rewrote that a little bit to make sure he featured this new video, which I thought was pretty cool. Kieran got a feature on the same day that he released the video.
Yeah, that was very cool. And sorry, Ed, go ahead. You're probably going to go.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, for those of you who haven't watched that fan spotlight, by that I mean go through and watch each of the individual videos. There's like 4 or 5 of them, I think. And we are all, I mean, one of the biggest complaints that I've seen with the fighter pilot video is how we're just rehashing the same footage. It's like, well, we've got a very limited toolbox to draw from here. Yeah. And yet you go and you watch those videos. Every single one of them has a very distinct and separate flavor, vastly different, emotional feels to every single one, and they're all great. I am just stunned at how good they all are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and it's just amazing what people can do, and I have to say I can't wait until we get better tools and more footage.
I know there's some people out there playing with the CryEngine and producing stuff that way, but for people without those skills, the more stuff we get in Arena Command, once we have the social module, the FPS module, multi-crew ships, of course, obviously the PU, but that's further away. But once we have all the things that we're getting in theory in the next few months, the potential for videography is going to just explode.
And the cinematic camera that they've been working on is actually looking really good. It's just sometimes, like you can't get some of the HUD information out of the way and stuff like that. But I think that's going to be great.
Yes, Fiendish Feather. Skills. Mad skills.
Yeah, that's what we need to do this. I break stuff! True story.
What?
What else you got? Move on.
I am now speechless. That was quite a performance. Next, rental equipment credit. Letters R, E, and C. The deep dive from last week provoked a very strong reaction. Somewhat surprising, but we had Chris Roberts responding to it, and Ben talked to those points in Reverse the First. And I'd like to point out that although CIG was a little disappointed and maybe even a little defensive in some of the posts, they really do appreciate the feedback. And we all know that people get really impassioned about these things and are not always as constructive as they could be. So there was some commentary that was a little rough. I think the biggest points right now that are controversial is the way the rentals work. You get 7 days in 1 day chunks, and they're expended when you log in. I think they're expended for everything that you've rented if you log in for even a second. I'm a little worried about that as a disincentive for casual. I've got a couple minutes. I just want to shoot some stuff. So that it's a disincentive for that because you're always thinking, oh, do I really, really want to? Do I have enough time to justify burning a day's worth of rental? So when designing these systems, you have to worry about incentivizing and disincentivizing behaviors. That's a problem. And there's a fact that you don't earn REC in solo gameplay or even in the co-op Van Duel Swarm, although there are some achievement-based REC stuff that you might get that they haven't really worked out yet. So that might play into that. And I didn't write this down, but there's another thing is that a lot of the way the REC is set up is that you will get stuff for winning various things, partially because they don't want you to earn REC for actually just logging in and being one of those rando AFKers in a match. That doesn't help anybody. But it also means that the guys that spent money ahead of time on a Super Hornet are going to be advantaged over somebody who just has a Aurora. So there's a bit of a pay-to-win aspect there. Although people have
what are you winning? You're not.
Yeah. Well, you're winning REC at that point.
Oh, okay, to what end? To give you more ships? It's not giving you an advantage in anything that matters in the long run.
No, not in the long run.
And how do you get these REC?
By winning.
So it's not pay to win; it's play to win.
But you can pay ahead of time to get the initial advantage.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the way things have been set up since the Kickstarter.
Can I give my own
Well,
drunken
I'm just saying,
opinion of
this is one
this?
of the
I
things
need
that
I need to
people
say something. This
You wait your turn,
disgusting.
monkey.
I'm waiting my turn. God damn it!
Ricko, you have the talking stick.
I have the talking stick. Yay! 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 I forgot what I was going to say. No, I don't. So this
Take it back.
this REC fiasco that people are complaining about.
I wouldn't call it a
starting.
fiasco.
Well, okay, people are bitching about it because they are looking for reasons to bitch about something. That's what it sounds to me. So you're giving a chance for somebody to rent a ship for a few.
Ship or equipment.
Yeah, exactly. You can buy that if you want with in-game money. So it's not like he's getting something better that you can't get. Right? Like, I don't...
Right.
I would understand if it's something...
This is not a system that will interact with the persistent universe as far as we know. This is just a way to...
Intended not to.
Right. This is just a way for... If you've got an Aurora and you're really good or you just play a lot, you'll get to try out a Super Hornet without buying it. I don't...
WTFSOR, excuse me. Sorry.
Possibly see... Yeah. The complaining about, I saw people saying some really dramatic things about this, and I was honestly so disappointed with. I thought that the StarCitizen community as a whole was a bit more mature and understanding than a lot of the things that I saw.
I think it was pent up around the whole pay-to-win thing, but I take the same attitude sort of the CIG does. It's good that there are impassioned opinions here, and I think that it'll help the game get the right balance of things.
Yeah. The more people we have with access to more ships during the testing phase, the better.
Right. And speaking of testing, there was an attempt at a devs versus community dogfight this week, but
Look at
the
that
servers
segue.
crashed.
Look at that. You were so smooth before I started talking again. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So smooth, Trendane almost slid off his freaking chair.
Ed, go ahead.
So the servers crashed under the load of everybody trying to log in and be able to help Chris Roberts crash or something like that. And so in some respects, that was mission accomplished. It was a stress test. It found some flaws in the lobby system. The lobby servers had some problems and became inoperable. And they're going to fix that, and they're going to try again. It looks like this Monday, I believe, at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and they'll be soon announcing the final details. They moved it a little further. It was 4 o'clock Pacific time last week, but they took some feedback that moving it a little earlier could get some people in from other places in the world a little better. Sandy Gardner leaked in her usual way a couple looks of the new interior of the Cutlass as being redesigned by the UK team. The modularity system is being added. And is it me or does it look bigger?
It looks bigger. The first thing I said, when I saw it is, I couldn't believe it was the Cutlass, to be honest, because it was so big.
Yeah,
it's almost you could fit a ship in there.
I'm wondering if there's a little fisheye action going on there with they might have been using something to increase the field of view, which would make it look bigger.
You're right. It might be a case because it does.
But then again, it is being redesigned by Foundry 42, which was responsible for taking an 80-meter Corvette and turning it into a 240-meter frigate during their design process. So could happen. Could end up being the bigger brother to the Cutlass at this rate.
Yeah.
I mean, bigger brother to the Caterpillar.
Yeah.
Okay. Since it is the Cutlass.
Yeah.
I assume you spoke there. So you can check those out. I saw that was being posted in the chat a little earlier, and she also just released this afternoon a image of an escape pod. It's kind of interesting.
For which ship?
It just says an escape pod.
Was it that square refrigerator-looking thing?
The Night Rider says it's the Retaliator.
It looked like a coffin. Fancy tech coffin.
It's
That's
probably
basically what they are.
It is.
Yeah, they're basically the bed slammed shut, eject you, and it may end up being your coffin.
The Night Rider says it was the Retaliator. Granted, the way he phrased it, he said Sandy Gardner also released what looks like the Retaliator escape pod, which makes it sound like she released it, which is just not good.
I love the
Anyway.
way.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know anything about it being the Retaliator. I haven't seen anything about that. Could be. In other news, a new Fly Now design was added to the main StarCitizen webpage, which has been frequently criticized as being hard to navigate for beginners. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good start to streamlining things for. I know the public website is starting to be focused more on people that are not backers, that are more new to the game, and they're working on developing a community homepage that is more focused towards backers.
Yeah, it's desperately needed. The Fly Now button is a good starting point. Like this past Christmas, a friend of mine chatted and said, I want to buy my son this game, and I don't know how. Like I spent like an hour talking her through how to get him something.
Yeah, it's a little nuts, and the fact that they use Roberts Space Industries as their main domain is a little nuts too. I have to say. I mean, I understand it. I think us backers understand it, but I just had a a conversation on Twitter with a guy who thought I was the official StarCitizen Twitter, and I was trying to explain to him that no, it's at Robert Space Ind, short for Industries.
Yeah, we get people on the forums at Star Citizen Base all the time who think it's the official forums because it has the word Star Citizen in it.
Unlike Robert Space Industries, yes.
We're getting the same problem with Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's that. StarCitizen.com is obviously taken, but I think it was just not used by anybody. So
I actually, it's funny you said, I just typed it in out of curiosity. What happens if you go to Stars? It's redirects to something called futureusa.com, which looks like a placeholder retailer. So I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. So they probably want money, and that might be the sticking point. But I think that might be worth doing. Okay, so we also heard that people attending PAX East will likely be the first backers to actually try out the FPS module.
Who wants to buy me a ticket to PAX East?
Me too. I'll go. Someone else pays. Although it's going to be fun in Boston if the weather keeps up.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be PAX East with extra snow.
Yeah.
The Star Citizen has its own igloo. Very large igloo where everybody will be trying this out.
But just think how easy it'll be to keep the CPUs cool.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a fair point.
True story. And the beer.
Mm.
Let's not
did
forget.
you see Cliffy's system? I'm blown away by all that water cooling.
Nope.
Clifford, aka Miku, posted a picture of his system. He water cooled the RAM and the hard drives.
Wow.
All in the same cooling loop. Now I've done some pretty. I mean, I thought I was serious when I actually water cooled the heat sinks on the motherboard, as well as the CPU. But he did that and just kept on going.
Water cooled. Here in Canada, we put our computer outside.
Yeah.
Sub-zero cooling, buddy.
Yep. So anyway, we also hear that the CCU, the cross-chassis upgrade system, is being reworked.
Yay.
It was mentioned by Ben during Reverse the Verse, and I think that's a really good idea because it's kind of messy right now. You have to skew for every possible combination of upgrades.
Well, and then some you have to go, if you want to do certain things, you have to go through like way too many steps to get it done. You can do it. You just have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In 10 for the Chair this week, Chris stated that the capital ships and stations will likely only be present in one instance.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be split between instances, and you won't have multiple copies of it, which disappointed a lot of people who had wild fantasies about how the battle instance might work.
Yeah, I just don't see another way to do it realistically.
Mm-hmm. No, you could split it up. I think you could actually do that. You just have to handle people running from one section to another.
Yeah.
Let's see. He also mentioned that they are currently only doing right-handed animations, to the dismay of lefties.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
They might support left-handed characters later, and the question was about which side you were putting the Moby glass on, and they might get around to doing that before ship, but everybody's going to be right-handed to start with. I just hope it doesn't stay everybody's our right-handed white male. I'm getting tired of that.
Well, we've already established that. Well, at least in the Constellation commercial, the doctor who's in the background, her right hand is basically sitting on the console. She's using her left hand to do virtually all of the button pressing that she's doing. So,
I'm betting Sandy was the model for that. She says she's ambidextrous, or like a lefty who trained herself to be ambidextrous, maybe. So yeah, we did hear that there aren't going to be customizable characters in the FPS module, but there might be several different base models. I don't know if they're all white males or not. A little diversity would be nice.
Yeah, but to be fair, anything right now, it's all placeholder. And
Yeah, it's all placeholders, so I don't worry about it too much. I just think, it's been over 2 years. It would be nice to see a little diversity happening in the models.
I'm not going to worry about it until they give me character creation and say create Zhane and this is going to be your character. If there's not the options I want there at that point, then I'll complain.
Right. We are seeing that a lot of work is being done on character customization. It's a big focus. We heard about that in Around the Verse, discussions with the art team in Austin, and in the news Around the Verse. They're doing some really neat stuff. I'm looking forward to it. We also, Sandy leaked a grapple beam, which we talked about last week.
I'm going to start saying that Sandy just leaks.
Sandy leaks all over the place.
Sorry, it's just not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
that, she's the leak master.
Psst, psst, I'm going to leak something. Sandy,
She's head leaker.
You're a sieve!
So that grapple beam that Sandy showed off earlier apparently only works in the FPS battle arena. It may work in the outside of that, but it's at this point it's specific to that location, which is the Ender's Game looking F0G FPS arena.
Yeah, because we don't really want Trendane to be walking around with one of those. Come
Get
here,
over here.
Yeah, come here, pretty boy. You got a pretty mouth. Sorry.
Right. And I don't know how to segue from that to this, but I'm just going to jump to it.
Do your best.
The Economist published an article about the impact of SC and it's the crowdfunding. And it was amazing to see an article about this the Kickstarter project game StarCitizen in the Economist while it's still in alpha. That just was incredible to me.
Mainstream media.
Mm-hmm. And that's it for this StarCitizen this week.
Thank you very much for the wonderful wrap up. I just posted a link, by the way, from that Economist article you were talking about. I was trying to post it with my actual username, and yeah.
You broke it.
I broke myself. So that's posted in the Twitch chat, also found on radio.starcitizenbase.com. Thank you very much, Ed.
This everything that we've talked about today, pretty much, will be posted on citizenstarnews.com this week as an article, and check us out and subscribe to the Twitch at C Zenstar.
Let me put a link.
Letter C Zenstar.
Let me do a little link here.
While you're doing that, I'll ask you, Ed. I presume you watched 10 for the Chairman on Monday. Mm-hmm. One of the questions that he was talking about was the lending of ships, and what happens if the person then takes your stuff, takes all the weapons off, and then puts their weapons on, and then gives you the ship back later on. What happens to, all of your stuff and their stuff? I mean, how does it go? And I had been putting some thought into that. How could they do it? And I would basically think that you could just, like when you're transferring, quote unquote, ownership from one person to another temporarily, you just have a little checkbox that it's a loaner, and then you just have another checkbox right underneath it that is lock loadout. And if that is, locked by default, and if the person's like, oh, I wanted to swap my weapons around, then you unlock the loadout, you take everything off. I mean, and when you unlock it, it just strips the thing, and you just give them the ship with no loadout on it. But I mean, just lock the loadout, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You will know whether they took the stuff off because it never leaves your hangar with the stuff on.
One solution, but it seems a little contrived when you're in this ship and you decide you need to. Oh, I need to change part of the loadout, and then you can't do it because of some checkbox in the game. Whereas in real life, if you borrowed somebody's cars and suddenly decided, oh, he's got crappy tires and I was going to race this thing, I'm just going to get these tires replaced. So,
If he's got
I hear what you're
locking
saying.
lug nuts, you can't do that.
Touche. Good answer. So that's interesting, and I thought there was some other interesting points there about, he talked about maybe it resets when you give it back, but then what happens if the guy actually wanted to upgrade it and then give it back to you? Some kind of default behavior and warnings with permissions would probably be the best way to go. But something I didn't bring up here, and I think they do need to work out, is what happens when you loan it out and the guy does something bad with it. And that was a question on 10 for the chat.
Yeah,
and the answer was that you get hit. And I think you need to have some kind of you register that it's been loaned out to this person, so that person is the owner of record during that period. I think you need something like that because we've talked a lot about rental systems before. And then there's the whole shared, corporation shared fleets and stuff like that. And
Right.
I have a huge fleet that I don't know what to do with. And I was actually thinking about building a corporation around that, which is just basically people that get to fly my ships.
Well, on the one hand, you do want to. I mean, you have to take some responsibility with who you loan things out to. If you give somebody the keys to your car and they hit and run, the police are coming to your house. Yeah.
But they're not going to arrest you for it if you can prove it. But yes, I kind of agree. I think there is some aspects of that. I just think it should take account of these various scenarios. Oh, and the other thing that I didn't mention that's hilarious is San Holo. Did you guys catch this?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Must be an NPC in the game. Has to be.
Yep. So he was talking about NPCs, and his position on the NPCs was a little evolved from previous. Basically, any NPC slot that you have, any character slot that you have, is potentially a PC or an NPC, and you can switch back and forth. That's a little different than has been said sometimes previously. But then he wanted to say that sometimes you want to play Han Solo, and the next day you might be playing Chewie, and whether or not Chewie is an NPC or a PC, he wants to share the loot. So they have to work out systems around that. But he accidentally said San Holo, which is hilarious, and has turned up as a new StarCitizen meme to rival Repair Bears. And the other thing that hasn't shown up yet is if you Google San Holo, it's actually a DJ who's famous for doing burping dubstep, which he calls burp step.
Burp step? That's fucked.
That's what you find when you search for San Holo on Google.
Excellent.
All right.
And I think that's an excellent note to end my
I think that's a wonderful way to end it. A burp step. I am not even going to Google it.